You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online. And my name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, but you probably already know that. Thanks very much for tuning in. Now, the interview subject that I've got prepared for you in this episode is none other than Brian Tichy. He's the drummer in Silverthorne. And he was a drummer at Whitesnake, Aussie. He did some time with Slash, Billy Idol, Foreigner, the Dead Daisies. We talk about them through the conversation. There's a few others in there too. My God, he is one of the most prolific and certainly legendary drummers of the 21st century. However, the reason for the conversation with Brian is to promote the brand new EP from Silverthorne. It's actually very, very good. I've got to tell you, it's called Tear the Sky Wide Open. It'll be out 21st of February via Golden Robot Records. I was surprised. As you'll hear through the conversation, it's a very strong EP. We talk about that, of course, and a few other things. So here he is, Mr. Brian Tichy. Brian, Andy Mackay-Smith calling for our chat. How you going?
Hi, how are you?
I'm pretty good, mate. Pretty solid. It's a sprightly 6 a.m. here at the moment, and thank God it's starting to cool down a little bit.
Oh, great. Yeah, thanks for working around the schedule. I know it's early for you, and we're trying to make it all happen.
Oh, no, it's fine, brother. Really, I've got two school-aged daughters, 5 and 6, and, mate, I'm usually up at this time anyway, so it fits in quite nicely to wake up at 6 a.m. and have a chat to any one of the wonderful musicians that I get an opportunity to chat to around the world. And it's really a thrill to be able to talk to you, mate, because I've long admired your wonderful drumming chops, I've got to say.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
No, it's all good.
Appreciate it.
And look, I've got to say, mate, you know, with this new material that you've got with Silverthorne, I must say I was surprised. Because there are a ton of all-star collaborations out there these days, and I've got to be frank, most fall well short of the quality of the musicians' usual output or usual music that they're a part of. But you are part of a sterling collective with Silverthorne, and I've had a good listen to Tear the Sky Wide Open. And I've tried to summarise it here, but feel free to disagree with me otherwise. I think it's okay. I think it's laid back. I think it's groovy. I think it's blues. I think it can be heavy metal, which I love. And I think you guys have done really well here. It's actually what I think Soundgarden could have sounded like if they had a bit more of a focus on swing. And of course, you're a big part of that, being the drummer. So, I guess after I've said all of that, mate, do you agree with that? And what else can you tell me about the album or the EP that you got here?
Well, I think that's very nice to hear, and I appreciate those kind words. That's great. You know, we did want to try and get all those things you mentioned across, and if you're hearing that, that's
cool.
That's great all the way around. Yeah, we definitely set out to make this real organic and really. Wait, sorry, I'm just walking out where it's a little quiet. But yeah, we just wanted to make it real pure and organic, and not really follow, I guess, what today's production of rock and roll has become, and just kind of get back into the our favorite period of time for records and production, which was the 70s, late 60s and 70s, where it really sounded like the guys in the band were in the room together making music, and put the mics around them, and that's what it is, So, and that's what we did. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and look, the other thing, I'm really quite astounded by Pete's voice. He's got a heck of a voice, actually, quite unlike anybody I've heard in a while. Actually, it really reminds me of some of those hard rock singers from the 70s. So, how did you guys meet each other?
Pete and I met many years ago. He had a band called The Union, and they were opening up for Whitesnake in the UK, and I was in Whitesnake at the time. And I'd go into the venues, and I'd hear them opening up, and I was like, wow, that singer's killer, he's a great singer. And we met, but we didn't keep in touch or anything. And then a bunch of years later, we got reacquainted. I had a project going on with the Leo brothers from Stone Temple Pilots, and we had recorded some song ideas they had, and we were, hoping to find a singer for it. And at the time, STP didn't have a singer, so they were unsure of, their next move with that band. So, and those are tall, big shoes to fill. So they weren't really sure what was going to happen. But Pete came around, somebody who knew somebody, got Pete in touch with the DeLeos, and they heard his voice and they were blown away. They sent me a tape of him, and they were like, or it's an MP3 and a text or whatever, and said, "I think we found our guy." And I was like, "This guy's amazing." And then a little while later, like, "Yeah, you two know each other." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, he was in the Union. They opened up for you with, Whitesnake and stuff." "Oh shit, okay, cool." So we all got together. Pete flew out from the UK, and we all basically made a record here, and had a great time doing it. And we had high hopes, of course. Soon after that, this is all a couple of years ago, the new singer of STP, I guess, they found that guy. He came into their world, and they were really happy with him. So they really had to make a choice, and their choice obviously was to move forward with Stone Temple Pilots. So we were a bit bummed, and but we totally understood, being Stone Temple Pilots fans, and complete respect for anybody that can, start a band and have it become as successful as they have been for decades. We understood, okay, they want to move forward with it. And so we were put on the back burner indefinitely. And soon after that, I just said, "Hey, Pete, we got to know each other making that record." And I was like, "He's a great guy, great guitar player, singer, lyricist." I was like, and we seem to be cut from the same cloth. I said, "Why don't you come back out, and let's do some writing and recording." And that was it. And we did that together for about a month. I think he came out for like 3-4 weeks and got nearly a record's worth of stuff done probably. And that was all in 2018, and went through a chunk of time with some management that didn't work out throughout that year. Okay. And then signed up in 2019 with Golden Robot, and in came our bass player, Daniel Spree, who I've known for many years.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, it's a trio, isn't it? It's a power trio you guys have got here.
Yeah, it's a powerfully powerful power trio.
Yeah, in the vein of Cream and all those killer ones from back in the day. Yeah, it's definitely got this. You guys have captured something here that a lot haven't. Believe me, many have tried here, but the power trio thing, I've been a part of trios before, and they're bloody hard to get right. Because if anybody really isn't doing their job, especially live, it sounds hollow. It truly sounds hollow. You just don't have that. It's that extra noise that 4 people sort of can bring, and the focus that you can provide to each instrument. If you've got a 4-piece, but in a 3-piece, you can't do that. So
Exactly.
I guess my question after all that, man, is I know you mentioned that you guys wrote together, but was it a situation where Pete brought in the sketches of a song on an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar, for example, or did you do that, that very modern thing these days and collaborate via the cloud?
Well, we mostly, the second part of your question, yes, we did do that, but just only a little bit. Mostly it was the two of us sitting around with acoustic guitars in a room, just going, "What do you have? Here's what I have," back and forth. "Oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool. Oh, I don't know about that." And for example, while we're sitting there doing that, Pete, we had little lists going on, little list. Oh, this, the G riff or the bluesy, whatever. Yeah, little titles for these ideas. And then Pete was like, "Oh, I have this too." And he went, "Went where?" I said, "That's a cool riff, man." And we started developing that, which became "Tear the Sky Wide Open," our first single, and all that stuff. And that's pretty much how it goes. We just A/B off each other, which I love the most, because you can't deny that spontaneity when you're in a room together and you're inspired and somebody does something and you react to it, and you're living in the moment and feeding off that energy. And to me, that's the most fun way to do it. And the cool thing was we were in my studio house, so I had this little rental house with all my studio gear and all my stuff in there. So 24/7, when we were inspired, didn't matter what time of the day, we could start throwing ideas down, cutting drum tracks, vocals, whatever, and taking our time, not having to book studios, engineers, producers. And so the whole thing's self-produced and self-engineered, and that's it, but it's a really fun process to me. I said to somebody else recently, it's like, that's my idea of a vacation, is when I can be completely creative and with my own music, especially with somebody as talented as Pete, and actually become a band through that. That's almost vacation time for me,
I get it. I actually do understand. I'm a musician too, you see, so I understand exactly what you're saying. And yeah, it's a hell of a thing when you find people that you enjoy collaborating with, isn't it? And And I've got to say, mate, that I think it'd be between yourself and Will Calhoun from Living Colour that are the drummers that are most likely to win the John Bonham Percussive Excellence Award, should it ever be materialised one day. But, I've got to say, beyond that, the drummer that I feel as though you more closely resemble or related to is Lee Kerslake from Blizzard of Oz, or the Aussie band as it's known. But beyond that, you're a natural-born musician. I was watching some of your YouTube clips, and you can do it all from the drums to the guitar. And I appreciate that you've likely answered this question 1,000 times, but you do have an extraordinary talent. Who were you inspired by?
Oh man, that list will go on all day long. But yeah, I'm a rock kid who grew up on Kiss, and soon after that, Zeppelin, Van Halen, AC/DC, Rush. And all that kind of stuff, Maiden and Priest and Yes, and all the big rock stuff, and but yeah, as far as, and then there's your musicians. I mean, everybody from John Bonham and Page. I mean, Zeppelin's my favorite band, so I'd say everybody in Zeppelin's pretty much my favorite. The Beatles and James Brown and Neil Young and Meshuggah and Paul McCartney. Cool. Just all the greats, man. You just listen and learn.
You're also an excellent guitarist, though. I mean, there's this. You're playing Randy's parts virtually note for note. There's a Mr. Crowley YouTube clip there, and I don't even know if I can frame this question properly, but I'll give it a try. But does it seriously come easy to you? Is it one of those things where if you just practice a little bit, it sort of just happens? You know what I'm saying? Because you can play guitar and drums at a professional level, man, that very few people can.
Oh, thank you. No, I've been playing guitar since, I'd say, seriously, where I started kind of playing without stopping was in 7th grade. So it's a long time. So I was a drummer who always loved playing guitar. I was a drummer first, and my dad had an acoustic guitar sitting around. So when I was a little kid, he showed me a couple chords and a Day Tripper riff from Beatles, which is not an easy riff to try to play if you've never played guitar before.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so somewhere, a couple years later, I picked it back up, and I just it really was the electric guitar. I thought it looked cool. It sounded awesome, just like drums. But one of my buddies had his electric guitar and an amp in his bedroom, and he showed me this is a power chord. This is Back in Black. This is Iron Man. This is Smoke in the Water. This is a blues scale. And I was blown away. I was like, I love this. And that came around the same time as Blizzard of Oz coming out, and Randy Rhoads blew me away. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I was trying to learn everything Randy did terribly because I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, that was it. So I've always been a drummer who just loves playing guitar. With leads included. Because I remember when I couldn't play leads, I was like, oh man, if someday if I could ever play lead guitar, that'd be so amazing. I don't know how to do it, but it would be amazing. And you learn, you practice, and all that. But I've definitely, from playing with some of the best guitar players in the world, I've learned just we learn from everybody, but just being in a band with some of these amazing players, I've learned a lot, and pay attention to a lot of details that these guys do. Like literally right now, I'm George Lynch is in my house, and we're doing some drum tracking, and George is an amazing guitar player, and so playing with him, I'd watch him and learn. It's the same with Zach Wilde and Slash and Steve Stevens and Doug Aldrich. You just hang out with these guys and jam and learn a lot.
Yeah, actually, I had a chat to George about 12 months ago. So fantastic guitarist, truly. I truly admired his work through the years. And you mentioned another guitarist there, Zach Wilde. I've had a chat to him too, and one of the things I mentioned to him is that my favourite release from him, well, that carries part of his name, is Pride and Glory, which of course you're the drummer for. And one of the questions I asked him was, do you think you could ever get back together with the guys in the band? And he said, of course, have a look at doing it. So if that ever came up, mate, would that be something you're interested in?
Yeah, that's Zach's world. Pride and Glory was his band, and we came in and did our thing. And he's a busy guy. He's nonstop. He's never stopped. So if there ever came a time where he felt like taking that on and going for it, it's just a matter of a phone call and seeing if and putting a schedule together. But yeah, that I had a blast doing that band, and loved playing with Zach and James. So if there was a time and a place for it, and we just went for it, it would be a ton of fun for sure.
Yeah. And another guitarist is David Lowy. Now, I know he's an Aussie, mate, so you must have to spend some time in Australia because you're in a band with him. But can you tell me how yourself and David hooked up?
Can I tell you how what?
How you guys hooked up? How you guys met?
Oh, it was back in I think it was 2013. My buddy Dizzy Reed, who was playing keys with the Dead Daisies at the time, simply just gave me a call and said, "Hey, we're on tour, and our drummer's unavailable for this next week, and can you do some shows with us?" And that was it, man. I think it was like a couple days later, I did like a week of shows, on this tour with them. And we all got along, and I was, good friends with Dizzy and Marco Mendoza. So, it was fun to jump in a band situation with those guys, and it just progressed from there. And for the next, 4 years or so when I was playing with them. So yeah, it was a blast. It was Doug Aldrich came into the mix, and John Corabi and Richard Fortas. All these guys are my great buddies. So you can't not have fun when you're playing rock and roll with those guys.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And you mentioned Slash earlier as well. So did you travel with him down to Australia back in 1995 on that little tour that he did?
In '95, no, I did everything with Slash in '95, and that didn't include Australia. And then he may have went down after that.
Yeah, I remember he came down. Yeah, I do remember it well. I missed it. I was too young to go and see him, but I thought I knew that you were on the album, so I thought, you did play on the Snake Pit album, didn't you?
No, the Snake Pit record. Matt Sorum was the drummer on the whole record, and I did the whole Snake Pit tour, which was Europe, Japan, South America, and the States. But we didn't get to Australia on that tour. We finished up the tour with Donington. And then we went in the studio and we were writing and stuff. But I think, we kind of stopped moving forward in '96. And I know Slash started doing some other stuff. So I don't know if he went to Australia, it wasn't with Snake Pit in '95. Maybe he did a promo tour or something, maybe it was after that. But
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. And so you've obviously been to Australia before, mate. Have we been a good territory for you?
Oh, man, no, it's awesome. I've been there 2 or 3 times. With the Dead Daisies, and it was a blast. Yeah, man, it's awesome. We stayed near right up the road from Bondi Beach. Right there, man. It's an awesome area. No, it's a great place. Went out to some clubs and did. I think we toured with Kiss down there, and
sweet.
Yeah, I had a blast, man. No, Australia's great. I really hope I can get back down there with Silverthorne soon.
Well, we hope it does happen too, mate. So, mate, that's great. Yeah, look, so I'll leave it there, mate. Thanks very much for making the music that you've made. This new album here, Tear the Sky Wide Open. I meant what I said earlier. It's all the things that I mentioned, mate. I just hope it does really well for you guys because it certainly deserves to find a broad audience.
Well, I really appreciate that. We've seen a lot of great reviews, which is nice and reassuring because it's it's not easy coming out as a brand new baby band and the whole uphill battle of the music business. But the EP's out now, and there's been great reviews, and hopefully that can propel us to the next level and get us out there, man. We want to get out there and prove ourselves. Give us a backyard barbecue or give us an arena. We're ready.
Yeah, well, I know you'll do well at both, mate. So good luck again, mate, with it all, and thanks very much for the conversation. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries, mate. All the best.
Okay.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. Cheers. You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series that syndicates for the A-List Online, and my name's Andrew Mackay-Smith. That interview subject was Brian Tichy, from far too many bands to mention, but the one that was involved in this conversation primarily was Silverthorne. So thanks so much for listening.